time to go to church, right? So I know some people got that in. So welcome to the show for sure this afternoon. So it is Hot Topics Tuesday. Of course, I would love to hear from anyone this afternoon because I am riding solo. And you know what that means? That I'm going to be in here talking and quite possibly talking to myself. But I hope you're listening. So you can always call me at 943-3700 or email us at straighttalk at star927 kman.ky. Straight talk at star927kman.ky. Very easy to remember. So go ahead and give us a drop us an email or give us a call to join in on this conversation. Today, what are we talking about? A couple of hot topics. Saw some stuff in the newspaper. Unemployment. Unemployment is quite interesting. The number of unemployed Caymanians increased by 558 to 1759, resulting in an unemployment rate of 8.3% in the second half of last year. The overall unemployment rate, including expatriate workers at the time, reached 5.2%, according to the Fall Labor Force Survey by the Economics and Statistics Office. And the figures are based on estimates which put Cayman's total labor force at 43,922 workers. This is 10.5% lower than in the fall of 2019 and follows an exodus of foreign workers in response to the coronavirus pandemic. The non-Cayman labor force fell by 16.6% compared to 2019, and the labor force of permanent residents dropped by 27.3%. As a result, the non-Caymanian population has declined by 13.6% to 22,105 since December of 2019. The survey estimates Cayman's estimated total population was 5.9% lower at 65,786 in December of 2020. So while the ESO believes that 2,279 people were unemployed late last year, data from Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman in January of 2020 showed that fewer than 1,000 were registered as unemployed with the department and actively seeking jobs. So however, together with the unemployment data, this has to be considered in the context of nearly 2,900 people receiving a government tourism stipend designed for workers who have lost income due to the border closure. In its pre-election economic and financial update, government expects the demand for labor to increase this year, particularly in response to planned construction projects. However, the tourism industry continues to be closed, and that will result in further restructuring in the local labor market as businesses are forced to recalibrate their business models. Over the medium term, new employment is expected from the island's hotel industry as the sector begins to recover in the latter stage of the forecast window, 2022 to 2023, and within the context of the added capacity created by current construction projects. Given this projected rise in the labor force and employment, government forecasts an unemployment rate of 4.8% of the labor force in 2021, followed by a gradual improvement to 4.5% in 2022 and 3.7% in 2023. So imagine, the number of unemployed Caymanians had reached an all-time high in 2012, and it's continued to lower itself, had a dip in 2017, and now is almost at the same high 2017 with 1,759 people unemployed. So can you imagine, right? And obviously we've had a major pandemic that has occurred, but just looking at what our economy kind of looks like right now, and then the projects that are being projected, the construction projects. And I can tell you what, I'm always concerned who we're building for, because if all these people are unemployed, they're sure not going to be buying anything. And for those that are purchasing, it is one hot market out there, like literally hot fire and can't be touched with a regular income. So it is coming up, guys, April 14th. So, I've been advising you all to get information about the people that are trying to get your vote, wanting you to give your trust that they will do the right thing for you, ensure that you know who they are. Yes, okay. The landfill, as we know, has now gotten a 25-year projection that's going to help dig it out of the pits, literally and figuratively. And so I guess that's a good thing, right? But just, information about that also is very, very important. So, what are some of the things that were promised and what are some of the things that were delivered? So let's see the progressive scorecard that I'm getting. I'm ripping straight from the headlines here. It's not Catherine saying it, by the way, ripping it straight from the headlines. So what was completed? I'll start with that. I'll give the good news first. What was completed? The Cayman Islands Coast Guard created, law pending. Cayman Islands Regiment created. Custom and Border Control Agency. I don't know if that was promised, but it's created. Custom and Border Control Agency created. Cayman Brac Swimming Pool completed. Cayman Brac Sports Complex completed. I know the Brac's happy. Cayman Islands Police Authority created. Enhanced Marine Parks completed. Owen Roberts International Airport Airfield upgrade completed. It's beautiful. Purchased police helicopters completed. Jobs Command portal created. Got a comment earlier today about the Jobs Command portal, and an unemployed person said to me, because I do a lot of training over at WORC, they said it's very complicated. So it's trying to help them kind of communicate with their employment officer in order for them to navigate it properly. Yeah, so it's there, and it's definitely listing all the jobs that are out there. So it's a good place for you to go ahead and check in. If it's a little complicated, then just get some assistance from your officer, because everybody should have an officer or can be assigned an officer, by the way, to assist you with your job search. Public Lands Commission created. Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman, which I was just talking about, that was created. All right. In progress, implementing new e-services. Georgetown Revitalization. Been talking about that for many, many years. That's in progress. John Gray High School project. That's in that's in progress. That's something that had started at the same time as the Clifton Hunter High School, and that has caused so many problems, but that's in progress. So we're waiting on that one patiently. Landfill remediation, the ISWMS, that's in progress. Mental health facility, that was promised, that's in progress. I think that was promised a while back. We've been talking about a mental health facility, must be 10 years. I'm not joking, and it's true. This is my field, right? So yeah. And the West Bay Police Station, in progress. What's not done? On hold. Amendments Advisory District Council's law, not done. Addressing de facto segregation in school, not done. Commercial criminal courts upgrade, incomplete. Cruise berthing cargo facility, abandoned. Desegregation of schools review, not done. Looking forward to that being done for sure. Health insurance reform, not done. Project future strategic reforms implementation unit merger to government projects delivery unit, progress is unclear. New West Bay Primary School, not done. Sovereign fund creation, progress unclear. Okay, and rip from the headline. Basically, I got this from the Canadian Compass, and so it's a report card. So it's the manifesto, the Progressives Manifesto, goals, promise versus goals achieved, written by Reshma Raghunath. Okay, keeping Cayman strong. Let me tell you, it's just really taking a closer look at what the party promised, what it delivered, from its Keeping Cayman Strong 2017 manifesto, to which formed the basis for the policies and plans for the National Unity Government 4-year term. And so it was looking at the Joint Progressive Alliance roadmap for 2021 and beyond. And so this is kind of going up against the new manifesto that's been released, outlining achievements over the last 4 years and setting out the objectives if they lead the next government. All right, listen. And this was in Friday's paper, or Thursday's paper, I should say. Talked about health, talked about education, employment, governance, and Rashma, very great article. Thank you also for, for holding people to the fire, man. I mean, if people, I know, people don't like that, and they get a little bothered that that you're even talking about it. But that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. If you tell me something, don't act like you didn't tell me. Some people will say something to you. I'll call you back. They never call you back, and then when you see them, you're like, I'm still waiting for the call. Yeah, that something happened, and this is what happened. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you call me and tell me what happened then, right? So don't be bothered that people are holding you accountable for the things that you said. Here's what I don't want to do, and I don't want anybody to do, is to sit down idly and act as if any decision that's being made about your country is not your business. It is absolutely your business, right? Because at the end of the day, whatever is available or not available to me in my country, I lose, or I even if I gain, if I don't have any say in it, or I don't have any knowledge of it, that to me is insult to injury. I'm not trying to be a sheeple, as they say, right? Just following along blindly, because I think the complaints about communism are kind of that, right? And so if that's not who we are, we want to make sure that that we're not mirroring any of that stuff. So please don't get bothered because of that. Just keeping people up to speed. And at the end of the day, we should all love each other, right? But it does not mean that because I don't feel you're the best person to move me forward, or you're the person I'm going to choose this time, that you should chop off somebody's head or chop off somebody's hand, or people can't speak their mind, or they'll kind of suffer the consequences. So just to say that that was some of the things that I thought Hot Topics Tuesday. Unemployment is huge. It is a huge problem. However, one of the main problems I think with employment and taking your job seriously and succeeding at it is the fact that when you do have a job, you appreciate it and you behave yourself accordingly. So I'm going to switch topics right now for what has been on my heart for a couple of weeks, and I've been meaning to talk about it, but I've had wonderful guests, and that's amazing. So today that I don't have any guests, I'm going to take this opportunity to really talk about customer service. And I've touched on this before, but today I'm really going to talk about just some do's and some don'ts, but some tips and stuff. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about just a couple of just experiences that I had in the last few weeks. So I went into an establishment, and I think in the middle of the exchange with the person that was helping me, they said something like, okay, so I have to go because I haven't had my breakfast yet. And I won't even tell you where I was. I won't tell you what type of institution it was. I won't even tell you that, because the person would definitely know if they're listening, that I'm talking about them. But I just thought I could not understand what that person needing breakfast at that moment while they were helping me with, something that I needed to have done. I couldn't understand the connection to that. And I thought, wow, that's like, there are some things that you don't have to say that you don't need to say. So if I'm assisting somebody and in the middle of it, I'm saying, all right, so, okay, so we're done now. Okay. So, cause I haven't had breakfast. Like, no, you can find a better way to close off that conversation than to talk about the fact that you need to go have your breakfast. Cause I don't know what that had to do with what we were doing. And so one of the things that I'm going to talk about this afternoon is how, when you say certain things or you do certain things, you make your customer feel unimportant. And that's what something like that did. Like, I don't know what else you needed from me, but I need to go have my breakfast. Because here I am at your place of business at, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock. It's not my business that you didn't have breakfast before you left your house. It's not my business that you didn't have breakfast at 8:30 before the doors open. Like, it's really not my business. Like, please stop giving people business that's not theirs. When you have a customer and you are working, that is your business. And every single customer wants to feel like they are your number one priority, not that they're holding you back from something. So that's my one complaint. I have another one. I had an individual tell me that they had received a notice from a credit bureau company, but had not received information from the actual place of business that they had done stuff with. Like, they never got a letter saying, oh, I'm going to send your information to the credit bureau. And so they obviously feel like they don't have a leg to stand on because they owe this money or whatever. But could you all do that too? Could you ensure that you have been communicating with the person adequately before something of that magnitude happens? I think at the end of the day, businesses are responsible for communication. They're responsible for the relationship that they create with their customer, because your customer really is who keeps you in business. And I can't say that enough. Like, honestly, your customer is who keeps you in business. And I must say, while I'm talking about some not so good experiences, I had a wonderful experience 2 times in the last couple of weeks. So one time I went to an actual coffee shop, and let me tell you, what they did not offer me, what information they did not tell me, they told me what they didn't have. They told me what they could give me instead. They thanked me for being patient. They thanked me for waiting. They gave me something extra. I mean, it was just, it was something that I literally have to still think about because it happens so little. Sometimes you're going to places and people don't even acknowledge you, just give you whatever. And then there was another experience that I had. It was a t-shirt place that was doing some printing, and he continued to call me and apologize that he hadn't finished it, but he was going to do it at this particular time. He was going to call me at that time, and he sure enough called me at that time to even say, I haven't finished it exactly, but I have not forgotten about you. And so he kept me in the loop the whole time. And then the owner of the company, and it's a huge company because I went there and it's like a huge factory, kind of warehouse thing. So it's not like it's this little mom and pop per se. The owner called me and apologized because he had had so much business. He said, because it's elections and a lot of the politicians are getting t-shirts and stuff like that. But he was so apologetic. And I thought that was so great, because one thing I know for sure, my business was not in the magnitude that a politician was giving them at that time. Because I'm sure that, you're running for office, you're printing out hundreds of shirts. I was printing 20. So to get that call and get that apology meant that my business was respected. And so my business was respected because, what the bigger picture is this. At the end of the day, every customer matters. And so right now, you can get caught up in the bright lights of people ordering 500 shirts, but they're ordering it until April 14th, for instance. And then you may not get any business from that person again for another 4 years, wherein somebody like myself will be a repeat customer, or they will tell somebody about it, or, we can either make your business look good or not make it look good. I think that was just really incredible. And I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. So, shout out to that t-shirt place that really showed me that customer service is just amazing. And this young man was actually from the Philippines, and he just went out of his way. And so there were a couple of times that I thought to myself, if you're not going to be that good, even if you're a Caymanian, then you have got to know that you're going to be kind of, not on strong footing when you have to compete out there in the working world. So Caymanians, I am, really just imploring you that customer service is so important, right? So customer service is something like, it's kind of a buildup for me. Today I spent some money in a store. I think I spent like $45 in a store. And if that lady told me goodbye, I would be telling you a lie on her right now. She did not tell me goodbye. Somebody came into the store and she started to speak with that person in her language. And she was so happy she got a visitor, and I'm so happy for her. I'm happy she has a visitor. I'm happy that her friend saw her. Maybe she didn't see her friend. Maybe she was having a bad day. and she just needed somebody to come in so she could talk to that person. And I'm just so happy for that lady, but I'm sad for myself because I picked up my little bag and walked out. I looked behind, waiting for a thank you, waiting for have a nice day. I got nothing. So that just inspired me that I have to come and talk about customer service because it is so important. So for the rest of the show, we will be chatting about that. Before I start that now, I wanted to talk about a couple of mottos, like customer service mottos that some companies have had. You're in good hands with Allstate. You know that, right? You know the Allstate guy and the deep voice from that actor that we're very familiar with. I'm so sorry, I don't remember his name. That is a shame because I love him too. But yeah, just very famous actor. But you're in good hands with Allstate. That is their promise to you. You understand? Like some people that are working, they don't understand their promise, the promise that their company has made to a customer. My promise to my customer is this: you're in good hands with Allstate. So if you get a bad experience with somebody that works at Allstate, then they've actually broken the promise of the company. And they've got like groups of people that get together to make up these mottos and these vision statements and all this kind of stuff. You know that, right? Slogans. Okay. So that's like a slogan, a motto, a slogan. And one of our very own, Cayman Airways, those who know us love us. I love that. Because I remember when I lived in the US, and I would see like a Cayman Airways commercial, and it would be so rare to see a Cayman Airways commercial those days on the television. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's where I'm from. It's in Miami. It was like, it's just like Cayman Airways, those who know us love us. And I loved it because it is so true. At that time, those who know us, like it wasn't everybody that knew Cayman. Cayman was like a little dot on the map. I think right now the world knows Cayman because Cayman on the list of the COVID pandemic, we're kind of like a shining star, right? So that's awesome now. But those days, we're talking about 20 years ago, 20-some years ago, no one knew us. So to make that statement, those that do know us, love us, it's basically saying all of those people, even if it's 10, they all love us. That's a promise from Cayman Airways about how you're going to be treated on the airplane. So if you got on a Cayman Airways airplane and you did not get good treatment, you're actually failing their promise. And I don't know if employees realize how serious that is, because it really is, right? And then another airline, which I think it's funny because I fly this one quite a bit and I've stopped because they're a mess. American Airlines, something special in the air. They are a hot mess. Oh dear. Let me tell you. And if there's somebody listening that's a CEO or something of American Airlines, give me a call. We can talk. We can try to, do something together to see if we can fix it, Lord, because let me tell you. But American Airlines, something special in the air. And after the Oprah Winfrey Show, 20-something years ago, 30 years ago, like the Oprah Winfrey Show was brought to you by American Airlines, you'd always hear Oprah's voice connected to that. American Airlines, something special in the air. You know what that is? That's a promise of how you will be treated. So as a customer service person, we have to really take responsibility and be serious about what we're doing for a company. We are either making or breaking our company's promise, their reputation, and that's going to reflect on the bottom line. And so at the end of the day, what I'll tell people when I train customer service, or my students that I'm trying to whip into shape to get out there and be competitive, is that if you expect your salary at the end of the day, you expect your salary at the end of the month or the week or whenever you paid, but yet you've not provided good service, then you're actually stealing from a company. Because you're taking something from them that you don't even deserve and that they didn't earn based on your service. So they promised you to pay you this amount, but based on your service, you might have lost customers, you might have lost money, but yet you want yours. So it's hand in hand. Yeah, it's a two-way street. So that's really, really important. And so before I go to break and come back and then talk about some tips and some do's and don'ts, I want to say this last one. Our attitude towards others determines their attitude towards us. So if we were to look at customer service from a positive angle or a personal angle, if I bring it inside, like intrinsic, right? I look at it from that way. I look, okay, how I behave towards this person is how they're supposed to behave towards me. Then maybe I might be compelled to treat them better. So I'll leave you with that for just a couple of minutes, but I'll be back with more. Stay tuned. This is your Straight Talk Drive 5 show, and this is Hot Topics Tuesday, and I'm Catherine Tyson, your host. I'll be right back with more.
Now open 943-3700.
This is Catherine Tyson, your host, and this is your Drive at 5 show. This afternoon, we're talking hot topics, and we just took a little break as we were discussing customer service. And let me tell you, customer service, such a serious, serious part of the business. Actually, it's the vital part of your business. So if you have a business, or if you have a business, then you know how important that is. And so you need to be definitely, on top of your employees and the service that they're giving, because that is basically affecting your bottom line one way or the other. But if you're a worker, if you, as we all are, right? I mean, I'm working for somebody, right? So when my guests are in the studio and you all out there, you're actually my customer also. Imagine that, right? You're my customer because I'm delivering something for you. And so I have to be very cognizant of what it is that I'm delivering, very careful of the things that I might say to ensure that I am not offending anybody from a larger level. Of course, with truth, you might step on some toes, but you're still, you want to finesse it. You want to be very nice about it. The guests come in here; those are customers, and so how you treat them. It's so important, right? So every single industry has a customer. A customer is what your company is dependent upon in order for it to survive. And if the customers stop coming, then eventually the doors are going to close. And so if the doors close, then what happens to your job? So I always tell people, listen, I know people are miserable. People get so miserable, unhappy with their life. Oh my gosh, my life, I'm so unhappy. And I just tell them for a second, stop for a second, just think about life without that job. What would happen? Oh, I hate my job. Okay, I get it. Hate your job. Think about your life without the job. Just for a second, you're driving along right now, you're listening, to this show. Just think about your life without that job. Think about it. Think about the $2,000 you make a month, the 4,000, the 5,000, 1,000, whatever it is you make. Just think about your life without that money. Yeah, you don't have to see these people that you hate. Okay, because I'm working with you. If you say you hate your job, you hate the people. right? I'm working with you. You don't have to see them anymore. Oh, that feels good. Amazing, right? Absolutely. You don't have to deal with them. I got to take no words from this one. She ain't going to tell me nothing, what to do. I don't have to deal with this one's attitude. Okay, got all that. But you also lost that money. That money is not in your life anymore. And you don't have another job. How does your life look? And if you're honest with yourself, hopefully, 8 out of 10 of you are saying, my life would really be different. I was going to have to make some adjustments. And chances are I was going to have to get me another job. And so sometimes you end up getting a job in, worse situation than you're in right now, even though you don't feel that at the moment because you're not thinking about it. So what I'm saying is, if you can be honest with yourself and say, okay, if I did not have this salary, my life would really, really be different. What I provide for myself, for my children, for my family would be very different. If you can really think about it and be honest, then you can appreciate what I'm saying in terms of how you're doing your job, how you're delivering your service. And so when I look at customer service, sometimes I want to think of it more personal than what I do for a company. When I treat people well, it's what I want to be remembered of me. It's what I want to be reflective of me. So if I treat somebody not so well, then how am I going to feel? Like, here's what I want that lady to think about that did not even tell me thank you for spending $45, did not tell me goodbye, did not tell me, hope to see you back again. I know for a fact she doesn't own the company because I spoke to the lady who owned the company one day, and how I knew is because the lady told me that she knew me, and you're on the radio and blah, of course I know you, everybody knows you. And then I was like, well, who are you? And she told me, and I said, oh, okay, so do you own this place? She says, yeah, this is my store. She wasn't there today. So now for me to go tell that lady how I was treated today, I'm sure that would not be nice. And I'm sure that lady that dealt with me today would be so disappointed if that happened. But you know what? At the end of the day, why should that woman lose me as a customer because of her employee who did not have the awareness enough to realize what she had done to her customer because her friend came in there to talk to her? I'm sure that woman does not have her business doors open for that lady to hail up her friends. So do you see how important that is, and the domino effect of that, to now go and report this lady and maybe she might lose a job? And you know what frustrates me even more? And I'm sorry, if I'm stepping on your toes, you might have to get them out of the way. What offends me more is if you're not from Cayman and you're not from Cayman and you might possibly be on a permit and you're treating me all kinds of way in a customer service position. Trust me, I'm offended by that. You know why? Because you have an opportunity in a country that's not your own. That is an opportunity. You have an opportunity to have a job. You have an opportunity to have a job that is not given to a Caymanian. And when people say Caymanians can't hold jobs because they're not going to manners, or they got a bad attitude, or they don't want to show up and all of this kind of stuff, then I think, okay, well, if I have a Caymanian that don't have manners, but I have somebody that's on a permit that doesn't have manners, and I had to choose between the two, why should I choose a person to be on a permit that doesn't have manners? That doesn't sound like a good choice. I mean, if we're choosing here, right? Of course, I'm being a little ridiculous because I really want to drive the point home of why is that okay? So the thing about having a bad day in customer service, we don't have the luxury of a bad day. So let's look at some of the things that I kind of pulled up here. Customer service skills. Doesn't matter how great your product is. Doesn't matter, how nice your place is. If your customer service is poor, you have a poor business and you'll lose customers. But it's not impossible to turn things around, right? So what is customer service? It's the act of providing support to both prospective and existing customers. So the existing customer is the person right in front of you. The prospective is the one they're going to tell about the business. Or the prospective is the one that hasn't come in there yet. So you're kind of trying to work with keeping both, right? Getting that one that's not in there, but keeping this one that's in there. It's also about providing timely, empathetic help that keeps customers' needs at the forefront of every interaction. It is a gentle dance. It is a it is a balancing act for sure, right? It is that juggle that has to be precise. So if you have 10 customers in the store at the time, or in your place of business at the time, those 10 customers all matter. So how you figure out how to serve all 10 of them is going to be your responsibility. How you figure out how to do it. But you can't choose to treat this one well or these five well and the other five get nothing or the other five get no attention, because everybody is in there to pay their way to receive a service, and they deserve the same level of service, right? One of the key customer service skills is patience. We have to be patient, right? You have to listen to people, you have to handle people with patience. People need to feel like they're important to your business. They don't need to feel like you're rushing them. They don't need to feel like that you got to go to breakfast, you're holding me up. You just paid your money, get out of the store. No, right? It's not enough to just close out the interaction as quickly as possible, but you have to be willing to take the time to listen and to fully understand a person, right? To respect them up until they leave. Customers also want attention. They want to know that they're acknowledged, that that my business means something to you, or I can go somewhere else. In Cayman, especially if you're dealing with traffic and oh goodness, if somebody has made their way to your business, they have parked, they have cut through all the lunchtime, morning traffic, 5 o'clock traffic, they have parked, they have walked from the parking lot into your establishment, they've gotten in a line. Come on. They want to at least know that you've acknowledged them, right? So stop what you're doing. At least acknowledge your customers. See if they need some help. I see people get so busy finishing up what they're doing that they don't have time to even look at who just entered the room. One thing I always remember, and most of you that travel, right? You go to Miami and remember Payless Shoe Source? It's no longer apparently. I don't know when this happened. When did this Payless Shoe Source thing finish? I don't know. But what I remember is the minute you walked into Payless door, there was a little bell. You hear ding ding, like it was this loud buzzer. I guess to alert the clerks wherever they were, if they were putting up shoes on the racks or whatever, that someone had come through the door. Probably could have been a safety thing, but it could have been just letting them know a customer had entered. And you would hear all the way in the back of the store, wherever they were, "Welcome to Payless." You would literally hear that, "Welcome to Payless," literally, because that buzzer said someone is here. And that someone is here to purchase what we have. You can't get so caught up in, I got to fix these shoes, that you forget that you're trying to sell shoes. And I think that's what happens. Sometimes people get so caught up with what they're trying to achieve. Like, I'm trying to fix this table. No, you're trying to serve customers. I'm trying to fix this shelf in the grocery store. No, actually, you're fixing the shelf that we're emptying. If those shelves just stayed fixed, you would not be working. We wouldn't need you to work. Okay? So attentiveness, very important. Customer asks you for something, you can't help them, get them to someone who can. That's all they want. They probably don't want to talk to you anyway. If you don't know where the beans are, can you find someone who does? I just need to get the beans and go back to my life. Right? So attentiveness, very important. Ability to communicate clearly. That's another key customer service skill. Communicating clearly. If English is not your first language and you're speaking to an English person, or if you're somewhere else, because I've traveled the world, I've traveled to Switzerland, I've traveled to Germany, I've traveled to Spain, different parts of the world, I don't speak their language, right? So it's for me to try to understand what they're saying. But if I'm a customer, I've had people in Switzerland trying to figure out what I'm saying, trying to get someone who can speak English because they'd like to sell me a purse for $350, right? So this is important. Even if you're not speaking the person's language, it's for you to try to understand what they're saying and how are you communicating that clearly. This is very important. A customer service person should really have some problem solving skills, right? Because if someone comes in with a problem, what do they want? They want you to be able to solve it. They don't want to leave with the problem. Okay, so that is really one of the very, very important kind of skills of a customer service person, right? Knowing your product, knowing where things are. I think I asked today, what size do you have? I don't know. Whatever's on the rack. Okay. So is this the only one you have on the rack? No, I have more. Okay. Could you, I don't, what, where would I find that? Well, which one do you want? Oh my goodness. It was like pulling teeth. I literally spent money because I just didn't have nothing else to do. I didn't want to go anywhere else, luckily. But if I want to spend money another day, I don't think I'm going to go there, because it was like literally, I felt like I was pulling teeth, right? Be friendly. Just be friendly. Customer service starts with a smile. When you're in a face-to-face situation, a warm greeting should be the first thing your customers see and hear when they ask for help. Even when you're dealing with customer service on the phone, they should hear your smile. A smile can come through in your voice. You have to make sure that you're friendly. And if you're just not a friendly person, you say that I'm just not a friendly person. I don't like to smile. I don't like people. Well, then you probably shouldn't even be in the front line. What are you doing? Who got you here? Who told you to come here? Who told you this was your role? It's okay for it to not be your role. And I tell people that all the time. Get to know yourself. Figure out yourself, right? Because you're figuring out yourself will get you out of a lot of scrapes. For real. Because you'll end up in a situation, people say, oh, you'll be good at this. And if you don't know yourself, you'll end up in it. And the next thing you know, you're miserable. And maybe that could be what's happening. Some of you that's driving along saying, I hate my job, I hate those people. Well, here's what I want you to do. As long as you need the money and it's helping you, live your life and solve your problems, don't focus on the hate for the people. Don't focus on being miserable. Focus on the good part of it. It helps me live my life. I get to make this money. You know what? But in the meantime, here's what I hate about it. And I think that I would like this better. And then you kind of come up with a game plan before you just live either miserably or you jump out when you're not ready. Figure your stuff out first. Have your stuff organized first. But what I don't want you to do is live miserably during that time, because that's not good. You should not be waking up every day and hating where you're going. But when you put things in perspective and you're able to look at it and say, hey, I go there because this is what it does for me, then your outlook changes. That's very important, right? And I believe in that. You know that. We have to live our full life. We have to be happy. If not, we're not living. We're not really living. That's for sure, right? Another customer service tip on my list today. Say thank you. Thank your customer. When you're finished with your customer, thank them. Let your customer know that your transaction has been completed. I'm not saying to hold them up, but don't let them stand there waiting for you to say thank you or waiting for you to say goodbye. Gratitude is memorable. It can remind customers why they stopped at your place in the first place, why they hired your company, why they bank at this institution, why they ate at this restaurant, why they'll come back again. Regardless of the type of business that you have, saying thank you after every transaction is one of the easiest ways to start a habit of good customer service. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate your business. Well, you know where we are. Well, if you need anything else, be sure to stop in. Give me a call. You know what? I'm going to give you my direct line. And so in the event that the person is listening today that told me about their breakfast, they did give me their direct line. So I'm thankful for that. So I'm going to be calling you if you're listening, right? But just don't be telling me about your breakfast. But they gave me their direct line. Said, call me if you need any more information, any extra help, give me a call. Okay? So say thank you. Let your customer feel that they mean something to your business, right? Show respect. Respect is so important. So if you didn't respect my time, you didn't respect my money, that's lack of respect, right? Because if you didn't tell me thank you, or if you just, after you took my money, you just closed off that whole interaction and I didn't even know that it was closed off, that was very disrespectful. So customer service can also involve emotions. So it's important to make sure that you're handling your customer service tasks in a courteous and respectful way. Never let your own emotions overtake your desire to see your customer walk away happy. Let me tell you something. I feel a way about that situation with the lady today. I feel it to my bones because it wasn't just the one thing. It was like the whole thing. Like I was saying, do you think this could fit me? I don't know. And we looked like we were about the same size. I was like, could this fit you? I don't know. I didn't try it on. It was so crazy. It was just like, what? And then you just take my money. Finally, I was like, let me just buy this and get out of here. Like make sure, because you can't come back and change it. Oh dear. I'm very, very unhappy about that situation today. Very unhappy. You know what? And before you end a transaction with a customer, ask them if they need anything else. Would you like anything else? Would you need some more of that? Are you okay? Is everybody good? Let them know that you want to make sure that they're happy. Yeah. So those are things that are really important. Asking for feedback. Be responsive. Oh my goodness. So there's nothing worse than non-responsiveness. There's nothing worse than non-interest, right? A customer who's trying to get help, they're trying to resolve an issue, they're trying to find out about what you're selling, they want to find out more, and you're just not responding or you're not interested. It's important to respond. It's important to let people know that you're looking into it or you care about what they need, what they want, right? It's better than letting a customer feel ignored, letting a customer feel unimportant. That's by far worse. People will pay more money for your product. They will go to another store and pay 3 times as much as what your product costs if they get treated well. So it's not about money all the time, right? Money is just a factor in this whole exchange, right? That's so important for you to know. And you know what? Train your staff. So if you're working and you're a supervisor and these things resonated with you about your staff and you're like at your wit's end and you don't know what you're going to do with them, train them. Make sure all of your employees, not just your customer service representatives. You know why? Because everybody is a customer service representative one way or the other. They're either providing internal customer service and driving your staff crazy anyway, or they're providing external customer service to the people that walk in, right? But understand that they should talk to people respectfully. They should interact with people respectfully. They should treat each other well, right? They're depending upon each other. All of us are depending upon each other to do a job. So each job that you have in a company, just think of the connections. Think of that person that you couldn't do your job if that person didn't do their job properly, or who's gonna, who, if you drop the ball, who's gonna be affected. And so it's always like a connection. Each company is connected by these, just these ties, right? That no one sees. They're invisible ties, right? So make sure that you're training your staff, training them as a team. Also, this is about a team. A car, you start a car with the key and the ignition. But if all those things under the hood aren't connected and all those things aren't firing off and sending the message to that other piece and sending the message to that other piece, your car is not going to start. You put that car in drive, it's not going to go. The same with the body. If you're not fueling it properly, it's all working together, right? So it's very important to have your staff trained. It's like having your tools sharpened, right, in order for you to be providing the best. Provide your employees with training that gives your staff those tools. that they need to carry good service through the entire customer experience. That is so, so important, right? Um, and that's something I think that you can find. There's lots of training out there. I provide training. If you need me to come in to train your company, this shameless plug, call me. You can find me anywhere. Missing Link Training and Support Services. It is out there. And there are also other companies that are training. Chamber of Commerce, I used to train with them for many years. Other training companies that are out there. Listen, your staff needs to be trained if you're interested in that. This is not the time to drop the ball. This is a time where we have to pride, right? And prize our customers, because we are in a very challenging time in our lives in this world, right? That losing a customer could be detrimental to your business, and think about it, if you were a store owner, would you want me to not want to come back to your store because of one of your employees behaving that way towards me? And you as a customer, do you want somebody to behave that way towards you? So it's two-sided, right? So always remember that. So here's a couple of do's and don'ts. Fundamental do's: respect your customer. We talked about that. Any relationship deserves respect. It starts with respect, right? One of the key principles for building relationships is to make the other person feel important. Do it sincerely. It's all about making customers feel valuable, making them feel important, making them feel good, making them feel that that exchange was a good one, making them feel better than when they came in. Definitely not making them feel worse. And all customers deserve your full attention. They deserve you to be polite, friendly, and just to have a lasting whole experience each time. Another do: be honest. Nothing destroys trust faster than broken promises. If you can't do it, don't promise that you can do it. If you promise to do something, follow up, right? Make sure you establish your kind of your clear boundaries, but make sure that you are following through with what you said, or don't promise, because people don't just understand. Yes, they understand. Maybe they understand. No. Okay. Take responsibility. If you've done something wrong, take responsibility. That's also dishonest if you're not able to take responsibility. Be a professional. Professionalism implies that you're ready to take the responsibility for the problems or the negative experience that customers are having, right? It means that you are ready to sincerely apologize. You're ready to make it right. So when people say, oh, the customer is always right, and you hear people say, customer isn't always right, well, this is what I say. Customers may not always be right, but it's your job to make it right. Right? So if I can't even have this thing or deliver this thing for you, what can I deliver for you? What can I help you with? So a customer experience, even when you can't provide something, is that they felt so good with that interaction that they're willing to come back to get something from you, or they're going to leave with something, right? So taking responsibility. And of course, we said express your gratitude. That's important, right? And put yourself in the customer's position. That is so important. If you put yourself in the customer position, and that means you could be like, and I give this example all the time, you could be like the most miserable person, like miserable, like everything bothers you, you're not happy about anything. When you think about how you just treated someone and you put yourself in that position, you're able to see it from a different standpoint. So you're able to say, you know what, that's true. I shouldn't have done that. I didn't have to do that. Put yourself in the customer's shoes, right? Right? Just the personal experience when you encountered something that was not satisfactory for you, something that didn't feel good to you, sometime when you felt frustrated, sometime when you felt disrespected. Put yourself in their position. What is it that they need, and how would you feel if you were in that spot? And then act accordingly. Not just come at it from, oh, this person's driving me crazy, I got to deal with another person. No, what are they actually saying? What is the problem? How would you feel if you had that issue? All right. A couple of don'ts. Don't be indifferent. Don't treat customers as transactions, right? And that is it. Like that, at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Don't ignore your customer. Don't treat them as if they're just a number. They're a breathing person. They want to feel important. They want to feel that their business is important to you. They want to come back. I mean, there's no real customer that doesn't want to come back. There's no one that came into an establishment and said, I never want to come back here again, just out of the blue for no reason. That's not true. They say it because of something that happened. They say it because of something that didn't happen. They say it because of something that you did or something that you didn't do, something that your staff did or something that your staff didn't do, something that your employees did or that your employees didn't do. You absolutely can believe that, right? And so if you push and strive to treat them the best that you can at all times, it's a win-win. All right? Every place else, and remember this, every place else that you're not working, you're a customer. How do you want to be treated? Okay, you know, that was a very, very important topic for me, and I thought that I just want to run through that because it is what drives your business. It is what drives our lives. So my last words on this subject is this: you have a job, appreciate it. You have customers, they provide you with that job. Because when your customers go away, that job will go away. And sometimes before that job goes away, your bosses, your employers, they will make you go away because they would rather you go away than they lose their customers. So take care of the treasures of your company because they have entrusted them to you. And remember, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And good customer service should be like a uniform you put on. So every morning when you wake up and you go to put on your clothes, put on that good customer service. All right? So that the mottos and the slogans, you are living up to them. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I will talk with you again tomorrow, where it will be another great show. We'll be talking to one of our political candidates. So you don't want to miss that. I'll talk with you tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. This is Catherine Tyson, and this is your Straight Talk Drive at 5 show. Take care.
Well done.
Convention and culture.